Borough of Croydon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. It also gives me great pleasure to announce that my husband, Mr. Mark Henson, who you can see just coming on screen, will be my consort during my mayoral year. I will have great pleasure in presenting the past mayor's badge and the citations of the previous mayor, Councillor Humayun Kabir, and to present to his wife, Rahina Chowdhury Kabir, with the past consort badge when the current restrictions are sufficiently relaxed to allow this to happen. I shall now give my acceptance of office address. Thank you. I want to start by thanking everyone here for giving me the honour of my life to be elected mayor of my hometown. I'm honoured to be here making this speech as the youngest woman to be elected to this role in Croydon's history. Croydon is my home. I was born here, went to school here, got married here, gave birth twice here, I've been elected twice here, I've started a business here, and now I've been made mayor here. And I hope that I'm going to be able to give back something of what it has given me. When I became aware that I was going to be made mayor, I jotted down some notes for a speech. This isn't the speech that I was planning to give. In fact, it's not even in the way I was planning to give it. I still have a copy of that speech I was going to give, and I will give it one day, but now's not the time. On that note, hope everyone's finding virtual meetings okay, by the way, and how's everyone's lockdown been going? I'll tell you a bit about mine. 2 days before the official lockdown kicked in, my family were already isolating, as it appeared that I contracted COVID-19. I'm currently waiting for my antibody test to prove it for sure, but certainly I had all the symptoms listed and I was very unwell. I was, however, one of the lucky ones. I recovered well and at home, thanks especially to my wonderful husband, Mark Henson, who acted as my nurse whilst trying to keep our business going and looking after our 2 small children, Theo, who is 6, and Liam, who is 2. I've asked Mark, as I've said previously, to be my consort for the year. Mark and I met in 2008, and he has been my rock and my best friend ever since. I can honestly say that I couldn't have achieved a fraction of what I have without him. Mark, I love you more than words can say. You really are the wind beneath my wings. Wednesday will mark 12 years that we've known each other, so happy anniversary, darling. I've also asked my dear friend Sherwin to be my deputy. I'm so happy that he's agreed, and I'm sure that with his wife and family, we're going to be a brilliant team. Once I recovered, I was able to take over some of the strain from Mark, but it made me so much more aware than I'd ever been before of my own mortality. So I realised I wanted to do something that would last. So I decided we'd do a time capsule. In that, I wrote a letter. This is a copy of the letter that I wrote, and I'm going to read it to you. Just remember, I was largely better, but still recovering when I wrote it. To the future. Well, we're currently living through history. Future generations will learn about this time. It's impossible to know what the future you all living through will look like. Today is Mark's 50th birthday. We should have been his birthday party, but instead, we're stuck at home with a genuine fear for our lives and those of the people around us. But the main feelings that we're seeing every day during this crisis aren't just sadness and fear, but hope too. Rainbows have become a symbol of that hope, a hope for the future, for the time you're living in, a time post the coronavirus. A normal day for us is Mark gets up with the boys, gives them breakfast, and then I follow. I try where possible to do some structured activities with the boys, whilst looking after some of the coordinating of the electronic side of the support network. I do lunch and dinner most days, though we often can still have takeaways, which are currently still functioning. Yesterday, we planted some potatoes. My first attempt at responsibility for our garden. Dad, I'm appreciating your gardening all the more at the moment. The same as I'm appreciating all the babysitting my mum used to do for me before the crisis. I always hoped I was appreciative of the fact that I had such a supportive family, but I know now I was nowhere near grateful enough. They do say not having something makes you appreciate what you've got. I'm so lucky to have such an amazing family, and I long for the day when we're allowed to give them a hug again. No one can predict what the future will see us as, but my hope is this won't be looked back on as a completely sad time. My job as a councillor and now as mayor is to try to get communities working together. It's a shame it has taken this to finally make that happen, but it has happened, and my biggest hope is that it continues. Maddie. Now, those who know me will know that my greatest passion is children and young people, as everything in society is influenced by what sort of start we give the next generation. In fact, I truly believe in the old adage that society should always be judged by how it treats its children. I've therefore decided, as has been alluded to, that the theme for my mayoral year will be early life. everything about pregnancy and becoming a parent through to the primary school years. I believe it's also very relevant for this time. We are currently the arbiters of the future, and how we act now will more directly than ever define the world that we leave our children. How I'll go about doing this has now completely changed from what I'd originally planned, but I promise everyone here that I will still give my all to this role. I'll be formally launching my theme tomorrow morning in Ashburton Park. We'll also be showcasing a couple of videos which illustrate just a couple of examples of how our wonderful and inventive children and families have been keeping socialising and learning in a safe way during the crisis. Whilst I've been working with many charities and voluntary sector organisations in the borough throughout my mayoral year, I've also the immense honour of selecting the charities that will directly benefit from the fundraising activity that I will be undertaking. It gives me great pleasure to announce them as part of tonight's ceremony. They are St Christopher's Hospice, which is providing care and support for the dying and those close to them in the borough for more than 50 years. Home Start Croydon, which is a voluntary organisation committed to supporting our local families in their homes who are experiencing difficulties or suffering stress and who have at least one child under the age of 5. And finally, the Motor Neurone Disease Association, which is the only national charity in England, Wales and Northern Ireland focused on improving care, to access and research to campaigning for those living with and affected by this terrible disease. Finally, I'll leave you on this note. The coronavirus has brought out the best and the worst in humanity. But the job for those of us who are left is to ensure that we all work together to put the world back together and ensure that the future is better than the present. Thank you very much.